Have you ever spent hours creating SOPs, standard operating procedures, only for your team to act like they don't exist? I mean, like you really sat down, took your time, created the SOPs, documented the process, but your team is still coming back to you. They're still asking the same questions. They're making the same mistakes. And then it somehow still ends up back on your desk. Here's the problem. Most SOPs aren't written for the people that actually have to use them. So in this video, you're about to discover why most SOPs fail, the 5 things that every effective SOP should include, and how to create documentation that your team will actually use. A couple of the biggest mistakes that I notice when business owners finally start creating SOPs and documenting their processes in their business is the business owner thinking that if they write it down, that people will follow it immediately. And unfortunately, documentation alone doesn't create consistency. Actually, bad documentation will create more confusion throughout your team. I just want you to kind of think of it from their point of view, right? If you've ever been an employee, you can probably actually resonate with this. If you've ever gone, like, I'm laughing because I've dealt with this firsthand, y'all. If you've ever gone to look for SOP, and you pull the SOP, you open the SOP, and it has 5 long pages, right? It's super duper long paragraphs. There's no screenshots. It's telling you to look for this certain button on the, software of the platform, and then the interface of the platform has changed. So now you're searching for 30 extra minutes for the button that the SOP told you to look for. So it's not an updated SOP. The steps are all out of order. They're unclear. Like, who wouldn't be confused, right? First, let's start. Who wants to read 5 pages of a document when you're just trying to get through your work and get through your task? At the end of the day, an SOP should make your team members' life easier, right? We don't want them to go on a scavenger hunt. We don't want them to be even more confused by the end of reading the document. We don't want it to feel like homework. It should be a resource for your team members. They should feel confident that when they go look for the SOP and they find the SOP, that they're going to find the answers that they need swiftly, and it's going to be clear and easy for them to follow instructions. A standard operating procedure is a decision-making tool for your team members. Its job is to decrease and eliminate uncertainty and confusion within your team. When someone knows exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, what completion looks like, what success looks like for that task, all the questions are going to disappear, and consistency for that work is going to increase. That is what a great SOP accomplishes. An SOP isn't just a document, it's a blueprint for consistent execution. A lot of business owners think that creating an SOP is just writing down a list of instructions, but a list of instructions isn't a system. An effective SOP should allow someone else to be able to complete that task correctly without having to come back to the CEO every time they have a question. So before you document any process, there are 5 foundational elements that every SOP needs. First, every SOP needs a clear purpose. Why does this process exist? What outcome is it designed to create? Don't assume that your team is going to understand the reason behind a task just because you do. When people actually understand the purpose behind the process and the task, they can make a better decision and understand how their work is going to impact the bigger picture. The second element of a great SOP is scope. Who owns this process? When should this SOP be used? When should it not be used? Clear boundaries are going to prevent confusion. When ownership and expectations are unclear, that's when tasks are going to start falling through the cracks. And that's when the founder or the CEO is going to become the default person that is responsible for everything. With the third element of a great SOP, we're leaning into the execution part of things, right? And that is going to be clear steps. A lot of the times business owners start messing up right around this part because they like to document the big picture of things and they leave out the small details. So the goal is really to make sure that you're not writing a complicated manual, okay? The goal is clarity at the end of the day. 1 step, 1 action, 1 instruction, okay? At the end of the day, you want to make sure that this process is easy for your team members to understand and follow, because they're going to be more likely to actually follow the steps and create a consistent result every single time. The fourth element is resources. Your SOP should include everything that someone would need to complete that process successfully. That could be templates, links, checklists, anything to do with your branding, anything that is going to remove unnecessary searching or decision making. Your team members should feel confident that they don't have to search or hunt through different places to figure out how to do something or complete that task. All right, the fifth and final element that creates a great SOP is going to be the quality check. What does done look like for this process? How does someone know that they completed that process correctly? What does the final result look like? Without this quality check in place, everyone is going to have their own version of done. And that is what creates inconsistency. A scalable business doesn't just need people completing tasks, it needs people completing those tasks consistently and producing consistent outcomes. Okay, so since we've discussed the 5 elements that a great SOP includes, you're probably wondering, well, when do I create an SOP? Like, how do I know when I need to create an SOP? And the rule I like to follow is, if your team has asked the same question twice or more than that, then the process deserves documentation. Every repeated question is simply feedback from your business. It's telling you that it needs a system, right? So instead of answering that same question over and over again, just improve your SOP. If you don't already have one created, then create one, right? Your documentation should evolve every single time that your business teaches you something new. Great SOPs are not about creating more paperwork. That's actually the exact opposite of what my idea of a great SOP is. As we discussed in the beginning of the video, we don't want a super lengthy document, right? What we are aiming for is clarity. When your team members know exactly what to do and they feel confident in their roles, they will stop depending on you and they'll stop asking you the same question over and over again. And in return, this will allow your business to become more scalable. If this video helped you think differently about documenting your business, I would love for you to give me a subscribe, because I post videos like this weekly where we discuss all things systems, processes, and operational strategies that will really help your coaching business scale sustainably. And if you're wondering which systems your business needs first, download the free Business Brain Map. I'll have it linked in the description box or my bio for you. It'll help you identify which operational gaps are showing up in your business so that you know exactly where to focus first.